The presence of African American churches in the United States dates back to before the American Civil War, when slavery as well as segregation still existed in the country. Today, this history is being shared by members of African American communities like the one in Stafford, Virginia, who now fill the shoes of some of their most astute ancestors of African descent. These are the stories of those who grew up in rural Stafford County, Virginia, and tell what life was like growing up in the early to mid 20th century during a time of segregation and growth. These stories tell of their lives attending church, community fellowship, family, and the future as members of Stafford's historical African American churches. Please join us as we explore their living legacies.
Hello, my name is Daniel Brown. I attended the church at a very early age. Just as soon as I was big enough to walk back and forth to church, I was made to come.
My name is Charlene Vines Greenhow, and I attended Shiloh Osite Baptist Church all my life.
My name is Sylvia Johnson Williams, and I started attending this church at 11 years old.
On August 1980, during our homecoming revival services, I was the first one out of 5 to join and come to become a member of Shiloh Osite Baptist Church.
I guess I joined the church in 1961. I was about 11 years old.
See in the future.
One of the men, we always hung together in the neighborhood, and one of the leaders of the men, boys in the neighborhood, he made a step forward to go to church, and all of us followed. Forward to church to join. It was at our homecoming service. It was in the evening, at nighttime, which this service started 7:30, and when the preacher preached, and he asked for who would come forward, and a bunch of us got up and went forward.
We cannot see.
The current location was not the original location. The original location was across the road where the cemetery is right now.
In fact, Shiloh began as what is known as a bush harbor before it was erected as a log building and later as a frame structure in 1894.
And the government took that over, and then we bought land and moved over here and built this structure. And this structure was built in 1949.
The church was established at Rock Hill Church, and right up the road here, Rock Hill Church Road, which was a white church. We had a group in the church, and when they left from there and they went to come down here on the other side of the road over at the government, and when the government come through and took the land, that was in 1949. We moved over here and built this new church in 1949. Marine Corps base is from Quantico all the way up past Camp Upshur. The government come through and took all the land in that area from Quantico all the way up to Camp Upshur. There's the Marine Corps base, and there was a lot of people lived over there. Some of my family and the Brents, the Washingtons, and who knows who was living over there. They come took the property, and a lot of those members attended this church. And when they took the property, we come over and got property on this side. But this land was bought from Jimmy Green, and which my father bought it at first, and then he gave an acre for the church. I think that's when they built the first church, and then they bought more land from Jimmy Green later to enlarge the parking lots and everything.
So your daddy gave the church its first land that it was built on?
Well, that's what I was told. I don't know exact what happened. That's That's what I was mentioned. Told that he gave 1 acre land to this church.
We cannot see.
Well,
Through teardrops.
we was farmers, and my father was a bricklayer, and he did a lot of work to this church. I think it was him and Johnny Washington, the one rebuilt this church in 1949. Johnny Washington was in charge. My father was a younger man then. Johnny Washington was a lot older, but I heard they was the one that rebuilt this church. And matter of fact, Jesse Johnson, I think he had a part in it. Yep, building this church. He was a younger man working. A lot of younger people in the neighborhood worked on this church and rebuilt this church in '49, which is the same year I was born.
Why did the church have to be rebuilt?
Because it was no building here. The building used to be across the highway. And when they took the land, they had to come over here and build a new church. But some of the roof part of this church, from my understanding, is the roof off of the old church, the truss and stuff. They kept the truss and they built a new building, set the truss on this. They started this new building.
Okay, you mentioned homecoming, and earlier we spoke about baptisms. Where are the baptisms done today opposed to where they were done in the past?
Today our baptism pool is down in the dining area, in the lower floor. That's where our baptism pool is now.
In the old days, however, baptism was carried out using natural water. This is known as wide water baptism. For Shiloh, this usually occurred in the nearby stream of Cannon Creek before a pool was installed in the church.
When I was baptized in the pond over here on the farm. And a lot of people that was baptized here when I was coming up, younger and older, was baptized in the creek down here, about a mile down the road where the bridge crosses over. That creek, we used to go back in that creek and get baptized.
And what would happen after everybody got baptized?
Well, after they sung and prayed, they come out and try to get the clothes on and come on back up towards the church. We'll come back to the church after they was baptized.
We cannot see.
Well, growing up here, being here as a youngster, I participated in Sunday school and practically every church service every Sunday, and every revival, and just about everything that went on here. I didn't miss too many services that was here. I was put on the deaconess board, I'm not sure what year, but it's been many years ago. And I didn't feel like I was ready to become a deaconess, but some of the older deacons encouraged me and kept coaxing me to become a deaconess. So I did, and I have never regretted that.
I was like my father. I did a lot of repairs in this church. I can remember this church being just a cinder block church. And then they brick veneered it. That was in the 60s and the 70s, late 60s and early 70s when they brick veneered. Then I can remember it used to be all 90 pine around in here. We completely remodeled this church, I guess, probably about 8 years ago. That's where you see the new structure inside. This was completely remodeled. But
Now, how big was your role that you played in the remodeling?
well, I was pretty much mostly supervising, but I redone the pulpit. I changed all of the pulpit, and I did all the trim work and the painting and what have you. A typical Sunday, yeah. Say you got up in the morning, you come to Sunday school. We walked to church every Sunday when we came. You come into Sunday school, we had 3 different classes. You had the adult, the primary, and the teenage. And We had our classes, then after Sunday school class, we would go down for a break, and then you come back up. And we would come up and start the morning service, and I can remember some of the devotion service where I can remember this older guy, he would get up and pray, and pray, and pray, and he would stop. And you think he would slow down, and you think he was going to stop, and then all of a sudden he'd go right back up again. Pray, and pray, and pray. Eventually sometime would have to stop him from praying. He was a long praying man. I can remember his name, old man Thurman Carter. He was a real old man when he passed from here too. When he passed away, he was a very old guy. I can remember him. And I can remember people jumping up and dancing, running down the aisle and back up the aisle and falling out. Those old time Sundays I remember when I was coming up. And we thought it was funny back then because we were young. But as I grew older, that's people praising the Lord. Realized that's what people praising the Lord.
I can remember driving our old blue and white school bus. It was a school bus that was transformed into our Sunday school bus. And it would come and pick us up at like 9 o'clock, and we'd come to church, and we would come for Sunday school services. And we'd kind of go through all around Stafford to pick up kids, and we would come and have Sunday school, and then we would move right into morning service at 11:30.
How many of y'all were on the bus?
It could be anywhere from 1 or 2 to about 15 of us at one time.
And when did you transition from riding the school bus to driving here on your own? What was the first day like when you didn't have to use the bus? Did y'all walk, or was it Dad's in car?
We always would drive to the church in my parents' car on a Sunday. And at the time when I was coming, we only had church on second and fourth Sundays. So we only had church 2 times during the month when I first started to come to church. And we would get in the family car and drive to church if I didn't attend Sunday school. But probably 90% of the time I was on the bus and I went to Sunday school.
It's just like, we come in, you go to Sunday school. That's what I normally do. Try to make Sunday school every Sunday because that's important to learn the word and grow in the spirit. And then you greet the people as they come in, and you just enjoy the sermon. We have a wonderful pastor here now, and he's been here for 5 years. And I see the church really growing. The membership is growing. There's just so much love, and we've had several people join since he's been here. And it's just a wonderful. I feel good when I come here and hear the word, and meet with family members, meet with people, and then I leave. And when you leave, you feel like you've really had a spiritual uplift.
I think I can remember the special memory was the death of my father. He died in July of 1998, and it was just people galore here, and people were coming up to me, and it's just a time where people come together and they come and show their love, and even though it was a sad occasion, but you could feel the love of the people, the compassion that they had, and they felt your pain. I felt like that was probably the first death to really hit me as an adult to deal with. I can remember coming as a child and having death, but it didn't mean anything to me. But I think this was the first death where I felt the love of the members and the family and the people of the community.
The redneck.
The gracious and almighty God. Give me wings, and I'll fly. Allowing us to come into this sanctuary just to praise and worship your name. I recline, something still across my mind.
You're asking the question, are there? Yes, there are many older members that have been here for many, many years. My brother is one of them. He was the chairman here for I don't know how many years, from 1984 till about 2 or 3 years ago. And then I have my sister that lives next door to the church. She's the mother of the church. She's 86. And so, as I say, you know, I have many older family members that have been here for many, many years and still come every Sunday.
Wings of faith to fly away to be
Church
at rest.
has done a lot for the community. Uh, we got missionaries, and I'll give it to one thing I got to say for Shiloh. The missionary really gives to the homeless, the people that been out of power, combined to them, and we would raise a basket and give them money to put the electric back on, and a lot of kids would come around and play with us when we was coming up, and the next thing you know, some of those children come back and join church. The church has really been an impact on a lot of people around here. Even a lot of white people, when I meet them on the street and we talk to them, and they say, that church over there is really have improved. They always look at the church and they said, tell me about how we really keep this place looking so nice and how much better the church looks, because we always doing something around here. And a lot of times when we don't have a lot of white people coming here and sit through the service. And then there's been people come here that, a couple of women, that was one Sunday I can never forget. A guy come in here, he said his father had just got killed or died that weekend. And the pastor put a basket up there and held a basket for the guy so he can get money to go to Pennsylvania to bury his daddy. And you wouldn't believe the money they took up just to give that guy to go bury his daddy that Sunday. I mean, just seems like people come here a lot to this church for different things, different reasons. And Shiloh really helps a lot of people. I've seen it done myself.
Well, I think that it's part of the history of Stafford County, being there, and we still are involved with all aspects of Stafford County, the NAACP, the community, we outreach to do that. It kind of makes me hold on to my heritage here at Shiloh. I'm probably one of the members that drive the farthest every Sunday. I travel 68 miles to come to church. And growing up here, I wanted to keep coming back here, something that keeps bringing me back here. And I think that, like I said, it kind of all plays together with that love, feeling the love, and wanting to feel that love.
Well, one of the things I remember, I see into that about the political aspect as it relates to the church. We've had several candidates that were running for office come to the church and would come and have remarks and tell us what they're running for and try to solicit our votes. So that's something new that, I didn't see that back in my younger days, but it's something kind of new. And then we have, I think, people change with the times. It's like, back in the day, I don't think it was as important to get involved in the political voting. We have people that come to encourage you to vote. Go out and exercise. People died for your right to vote. So go out and exercise your right to vote. We didn't used to have that as much as that's being pushed now, to encourage people to do things that to make things better for you. So I think that's one of the things.
I was lost
All churches don't have problems.
in sin
All.
and sorrow.
I've seen, like I say, I've been here all my life. I've seen times at Shiloh when you come out of church, you will see a crowd over here talking, a crowd over there talking, and a crowd over there talking, and people were split. But nowadays, you see Shiloh is all together. Everybody's loving. They always try to help one another. And that's a big change I don't see in this church. 'Cause like I said, I come up here as a kid. But I've seen time it was split. And matter of fact, I think be there. Since I've been going to this church, we only got voted out 2 pastors. It's just 2. And I've been, like I said, I've been going here all my life, just about. And both of them was simple things. It's just people couldn't